Hey, welcome back to our series on the pen Play Easily Now Wargame. In this video, we're going to be talking about how action resolution works and how it works into our mentality of creating a straightforward, fast, and strategic wargame that you can play with any miniature you have lying around. When your unit activates on its turn, it'll get 2 actions plus a couple free actions. The free actions include 1 free movement every turn and any additional bonus attacks that you get from characteristics. These tend to be a little bit more thematic and sometimes a little less powerful, but you get them for free, so you might as well still use them. In addition to these free actions, you get to spend these 2 actions per unit on attacks, powers, additional movements, or special abilities that you get as a result of characteristics. This gives you a ton of options on your turn. You can double or even triple move if you need your unit to really move forward and grab an objective or engage a certain enemy unit. You can spend it all on attacks if you just want one of your units to become a bastion of firepower on the battlefield. Or you can mix and match in fun ways that allow you to combo with your other units. No matter what action you're taking, though, the skill resolution mechanic is always going to be the same D6 method. This D6 mechanic involves rolling 1 6-sided dice for every model in your unit. Then all you have to do is add the relevant skill for that action and check to see if the total is at least a 7. If the total is a 7 or more, you get 1 check for whatever it is that you're trying to do. In the case of an attack, this would be 1 hit. In the case of a vigor roll, this is creating 1 courage, and we'll get into that in a little bit later. If the result's at least a 10, though, you get 2 hits, or 2 checks for whatever that action is. And any results of 1 always auto-fail. Now, this is a little bit of a controversial mechanic because 1's auto-failing means that you have about a 1 in 6 chance for every model to just immediately fail on that action. But this is actually really intentional. With a game like Pen that allows you to customize a whole bunch, there's a huge opportunity for power gaming. And honestly, that's encouraged. Go for it. Try and find the best strategies. But as you allow those different types of options in really, really powerful combos, the ones ensure that no matter how super powerful you make your units, there's always a chance for your opponent to do some damage to them and have some effect on them. So it keeps things balanced and it keeps the game moving faster because sometimes those rolls can happen at really pivotal moments and turn the tide of the game. But you still have a huge amount of influence on what's going on by taking different characteristics that allow you to reroll or just taking characteristics that allow you to roll more dice or change the effects and modify them. The only exceptions to this resolution mechanic are blocking and using powers with the Arcana ability. Blocking, the only exception is that you will roll 1 6-sided dice for every damage that's coming at you instead of for every model in your unit. This allows you to block more damage than you have models, which is important. If a horde of Griblies is shooting at your one giant important unit, you don't want to be able to block only one of those damage. Your armor should be enough to block most of it. So that's why you roll that a little bit differently. And powers are rolled a little bit differently because you still roll 1 6-sided dice for every unit or model in the unit, but you don't necessarily need a 7. Depending on how powerful the ability is that you're trying to cast, you'll need a different threshold based on the power itself. And all of that information will be available when you're picking those powers with your characteristics. So let's look at an example. Assuming we have a squad of 5 cyborg soldiers, and they're trying to shoot at a squad of 10 mini demons. Each of these cyborg soldiers are going to be rolling a 6-sided dice, and if they have an accuracy of 5, that means they need to roll at least 2s on each dice in order to hit this group of mini demons. In turn, the mini demons will roll 1 6-sided dice for each damage that the cyborg soldiers get on them, and the resistance is a 2. So that means that they need to roll at least a 5 on each of those dice to ignore the corresponding damage. It's pretty straightforward, and as you roll with it more, it gets really, really quick. It's also really helpful because at the end of the day, all you really need to play the game is be able to do basic adding and subtracting, which means that pretty much anyone can play it. Although in 6th grade I did fail adding and subtracting whole numbers, so for all of you who are not math inclined, I see you. In the same way, if you're doing a vigor roll, which you'll have to each time that your unit takes damage, you'll roll a 6-sided dice for each model in the unit, and then you'll add your vigor skill. In this case, say the cyborg soldiers took 2 of their models were taken out in an attack, then they would have to roll vigor to see if they retreat 1 inch. They'll roll a d6 for each of the 3 models left. They'll add their vigor of 3, and that means they'll need to roll at least 4s on each of those dice to prevent being forced to retreat. That's pretty much all there is to it. It's a really straightforward mechanic that has a ton of flexibility, and you'll see that as you look through the characteristics and build your custom units.